Good afternoon, everyone. Ron Nicoletti along with Brian Nato. And if you can see behind us, the rain has come. We have a sealed sloppy main track, but we got the all-weather Tapeta. And we only had one turf race today, and that one is off the turf now.
And no additional scratches that weren't regular scratches, one out of the field. So that's the beauty of the Tapeta. Keep those races together.
Yeah, so that is race number 4, I believe it is. It was a 5-horse field to begin with an early scratch. And as Brian said, no additional scratches. That will kick off the Rainbow Six. I'm dreaming all button in that spot, maybe. There we got a $200,000 gross jackpot guarantee. So this is 9 races, and you see on your screen, or if you're not watching us, it starts in race number 4 this afternoon.
Getting up there quickly, 200,000 already, and it'll continue to grow. And best of luck on what is a little tough, problematic sequence. I thought tomorrow is a beast of a sequence.
Beast of a sequence, and we drew both Saturday and Sunday, and we have a couple of really nice races on both days. So we'll be here Easter Sunday, and come out and join us. We have a 10-race card, kicks off at 1:05 p.m. With that said, let's get right into Brian's early pick 5 ticket.
This one 24, Ron, after a scratch of the 8 in race 1, which we'll get to. The single is Demo Wonder. I know we've got a replay to show and a stat for Rohan Crichton as well. And there are the spreads in race 3 and race 4. We go down inside, Zambak on top in a spread in race 3. In race 4, down to 5, and I'm going to use 4 of them. Number 2, Jazzy T on top, again for Rohan Crichton, and then the single Uptown Lights looks very, very tough on the comeback in that Tapeta race, and raced early on in the Tapeta in October, now coming back for Todd Pletcher, adding Lasix.
I'm betting the horse you left out in the 4th
Oh, boy.
race.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, it's been known to happen.
Doesn't that usually how it happens? Just joking around. The pick 5, 15,000 already. Getting to this first race, it's 7 furlongs, maiden claim is fillies and mares 3 and up, $16,000, as Brian mentioned. Scratch the number 8 horse in there. We're dealing with a sealed sloppy track. We both went to a first-time starter, and that's Wicca Wisdom, who's a daughter of Jess's Dream, debuting for Ralph Nix. And I just think it's an ideal spot for a first-time starter to succeed.
I think that's perfectly put. And I've got firsters in first and second. You've got firsters first and third. And you look at the horses with the afternoon experience. They're no great shakes. They really haven't distinguished themselves. And here's Ralph Nix off a banner championship meet, and Hiram Mio's here. They're about 20% together. Ralph in maiden claiming races is 24%. Not necessarily known as a potent first-out trainer, but he's 13%. There's plenty of works here on. I would think Wicca Wisdom, if this one, a daughter of Jess's Dream, can run a little bit, she's going to have a say against this group.
You know, sorry, Brian, we're dealing with that sloppy main track, so there's always a little bit of guesswork involved. One of the horses, I think the only horse that I could see that already ran that might have a shot is the horse you have in third and I have in second, and that's Angelic Storm. We're stretching out to 7 furlongs, rallied to finish second. That was a vastly improved performance. Was 21-1 that afternoon against Similar, going 6.5 furlongs. Dan Peter, owner trainer. He's got Marcos Meneses in the saddle. This horse woke up last time.
Yeah, you know, I don't know where it came from because there was no real equipment change or anything like that going on. But yes, Marani's, I'm with you 100% that this was a giant move forward. If she can back it up, and that's a question mark because, you know, it stands off the page, then she's a player in here. Her lack of early speed is a little bit of a problem, too. We've got to pay attention to how this main track's going to play. Sloppy and sealed tends to sometimes play to speed. We'll see how it shakes out, but take note of that as we work our way through this card.
And another first-time starter, number 4, Capadri, is the daughter of flat-out debuting for Safi. Lasix, Angel Arroyo, named to ride. And you know, of course, it's Safi. You watch the toad action sitting up there as co-second choice right now.
Yeah, Safi is a little better than 12% because he won the finale yesterday with a half to Rombauer, the Preakness winner. Well, this isn't a half to Rombauer, but again, you don't have to be a monster to play with this group. First asking, and as I look 3-1 right now, early in the betting, but some money showing.
Race number 2 this afternoon. There's a 6 furlong starter optional claimer. These are fillies and mares, 4 and up, started for $8,000 or less, or the optional tag of $16,000, and no scratches in this race. And I think the horse that's going to be the big favorite, and as you alluded to, is the number 4 horse in here, Demo Wonder. This one owned and trained by Rohan Crichton. Yeah,
it's the first replay we're going to show on Gulfstream today, and there's really not a lot going on here, but I wanted to show just how devastatingly easy She won this race, and that's Pretty Rachel, who I believe has won 9 of 10 going into this. Now, she was stepping up in class there, but she just absolutely fries her and runs her right off her feet. No one in here can really run with her early 44 and change splits. She's over 3 on a wet track, but she's also hit the board in all 3 starts as well, and she's never been better than she is now for Rohan Crichton on the heels of a huge championship meet, just kind of keeping on, and he's poised to have himself a day because he's got some live runners on the card. This was impressive, Ronnie.
Well, she's 3 for 3 in the money on an off track.
Right,
so
exactly.
I mean, she's not been off the board. And I'm going to show you a stat. Well, let this one finish. She finished way before everybody else, so it doesn't matter. Rowan Crichton, I just love finding these stats here. Winner last out, sprints on the dirt over the past year. He's 8 for 24, 33%, 67% in the money. 189 is the return investment. And I think this year has been one of his banner years, so that's why I just narrowed it down to the 1 year. So of course you knew it was going to be a good stat on a horse that's probably going to be the odds-on choice in here. I did go with number 1, Free to Fly in second, who's actually third behind Demba Wonder at this distance. That was 2 starts back. Shortens up, set a pressured pace, finished second, was beaten the neck against those 12-5 starter optional claimers, going 7, up at Tampa on the main track for the one, the only, Kathleen O'Connell and Paco Lopez. This is a 6-time local winner.
Yeah, and we're kind of handicapping a little bit on the fly here with the weather.
Right.
And as you were talking, I look over 2 for 2 on a wet track, Ronnie. So
yeah.
The problem is you're inside of Demo Wonder, and that's not the trip you want to pull, but we'll see with Paco aboard here. We know how aggressive he can be, and we know how he can drag a horse home as well.
And you have the number 6, Cozy Dreams, who's stretching out after rallying to finish second last time out.
Yeah, so if Demo Wonder and Free to Fly go at it early and Demo Wonder wins the battle and it subsequently wins the war, maybe Cozy Dreams picks up the pieces, has a win on an off track as well.
Yeah, 1 for 2 on that wet track. So, yeah, nice race. We'll see how like Brian said at the top, it's good in these early races to see how that main track is playing this afternoon.
Yeah.
Race number 3, this one's on the all-weather, so it'll be fast or thereabouts. It's still amazing to me. About 1 mile and 70 yards. They're going maiden claiming fillies and mares 3 and up. $25,000. Once again, a clean slate. And I'll kick it off with the number 1 Zambak, like you did too, dropping to this level today, rallied to come within the neck of defeating that repeat winner, King Kingdom. King Kingdom in the 35 maiden test going 1 mile 70. It's Safi. It's Junior Alvarado.
And that's exactly what it is. And we can save the ground down inside. And it seems like now after 3 or 4 days of the Royal Palm meet, Safi's going to team with Junior Alvarado, and the stats are going to be pretty prolific, I would think, as it's great to have Junior down here this summer. A second off the claim, still lightly raised. Safi's now got to know this horse. The winner last time comes right back to win. Every reason to think Zambak is going to take a lot of beating in here. And,
now that we've had the all-weather surface for about 8 months, there's some stats, starting to materialize. And just wanted to show Safi Joseph Jr. with his route races on the Tapeta. He's 21 for 95, so he's had a lot of starts in route races, 22%, 53% the money, and a 204 return of investment. So pretty good numbers in there. So just wanted to point that out as these things unfold, as we use this surface more and more. So I put it at 8 months. Pretty soon it'll be 9, just like that. So I know you got some interest in the number 4 Vintage Girl.
Well, that's the second replay we're going to show, and I did think she ran very, very well last time. This is her, the 8. The winner is going to be mired in trouble, and that's Nana Fanny, who's the 5. So just kind of keep an eye on her. Vintage Girl kind of got the run of the race and had a clear trip and still couldn't hold off Nana Fanny, who ran huge in this race. I do think it puts Vintage Girl in the mix in here, and Kent Sweezy has really, really started the Royal Palm meet off well with live horses. It's one of the reasons I spread in this race, because I do think Vintage Girl is going to be bet in here. And to me, Ronnie, she just kind of had to win with what was going on down inside with Nana Fanny, and she still couldn't hold her off. So while I do think you have to use her, I'm thinking a little outside the box in this race too, and we're going to come up with a couple other horses that at least will offer value, because certainly Zambak and definitely Vintage Girl are going to be bet in here.
Well, we have the same triumph there, and the number 7, Coco icing, is hoping to spread her speed to the wire on the Tapita. She got nailed late when finishing second, beaten ahead by that repeat winner, Conundrum Queen. That was a maiden race going a mile on the grass. Joe Orsino has a positive return of investment of $2, or an even return of investment with this move, with the surface switch. And once again, these stats are just starting to materialize. So I think this is a horse, like you said, throw on the ticket.
Yeah, and she's coming out of live races. You see Conundrum Queen has been really, really good of late. My Sonny Valentine, the race, her lone Tapita route race was just against a better group for 40 than she's meeting today. I think getting back to the Tapita with her outside tactical speed, it might help her bridge the gap a little bit, and she's not out of this at what will be a much better price than the 1 in the 4.
Yeah, and you Mark Cassie's horse, too. You haven't fought. I think you used this one on your ticket, too, didn't you?
I did, and I played this horse last time, and honestly, I was a little disappointed. I thought she was going to run better. I thought she should have run better. But now we're going to get back to the Tapita, and the run 2 back is what I really liked about her last time when she was marooned 2 back. I thought she ran very, very well, had to make an aggressive middle move probably earlier than Edwin Gonzalez wanted, and we know, Ronnie, how good Edwin Gonzalez is on the Tapita.
Yeah, he's been doing fantastic since we put that surface in. So take a short break, and we'll be back with my Rainbow 6 ticket.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground ball first inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today, Ron and Brian. If you're just joining us, we had a rain, or we actually have a little bit of rain still going on, but we got the Tapita to save us. This race here, Ford, it's going to kick off the Rainbow 6 is going to go from the turf to the all-weather surface at 1 mile and 70 yards. So taking that factor into consideration, I still put my ticket together and kept it up there because I thought these were the logical 3.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that race in a moment. Race number 5, Uptown Lights, I think is going to be pretty big favorite for Todd Pletcher, but I use Such as Life for Eddie Pleaser Jr. Race number 6, Too Deep once again with Shady Lee on top with Snackster. Got a stat on that horse. Race number 7, I think a lot of people are going to use Diligent for Gilberto Zerpa, but I used Farley. In addition, then I got some coverage in race number 8. Even though Unsociable looks like tough in there, Faithful Ruler, maybe Pure Spike can grab a share. That is leg B of the Stronach 5, which we'll be talking about. My long shot is in the last. It's the one Cajun Bayou, a son of Cajun Breeze, dropping to the 16 level. Thought I'd get a little bit of a price. Like that Siren. I certainly like Mike Yates when he trained that. That was the progeny of Cajun Breeze.
And he's got a firster for Cajun Breeze tomorrow on the 11 race card as well, and I agree with you. He has popped several times at square prices, too.
Yeah, getting back to this race number 4, move from the turf to 1 mile 70 yards on the all-weather. These are claimers. Fillies 3 or Fillies and Mares, 4-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 races in life, 20 down to 16. We had an early scratch today of the number 3, Miss California. And the number 2, Jazzy T, who was knocking on the door, both on the Tapita and turf during February, including her last week. She came from far back to finish second against this level. It's Rowan Crichton, MSCL Jaramillo. But here's the key. We'll see how this horse runs this afternoon. I just think, with the move to the old Tapita, because with this barn with the turf was 0 for 10, but with the Tapita, they do good when it can, with horses running on that surface.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, there's other horses in this race with decent enough Tapita form, but I thought she was best anyway, and now that they're really playing her game on the switch to the Tapita. 1 for 13, 7 underneath finishes. It's not ideal, but then you look at the rest of the body of this field. We got a 1 for 50 down on the rail, Ronnie. And there's some other 1 for. So I think Jazzy T is in the right spot, and the guy putting the saddle on her is the right guy, too.
Yeah, the number 5, Chica Boom, is stepping up to face winners, rallying to defeat those 25 maidens. That was going 7.5 on the turf. Paco Lopez going to handle the surface switch for Rudin Gracida. If you go back, this horse has run okay in some races on the Tapeta.
Yeah, and, you know, I don't want to say lifetime maiden, but she was 0 for 10 and then finally gets the job done, and we've seen the light bulb aim go. And, you know, when it goes on, sometimes they fire right back. Good rider with Paco aboard. I think he'll put her in the race early on, too, in a shorter field.
You know, besides the Rainbow Six, we got exacta wagering here. So the number one Rosa Star, as you mentioned, was turned finishing second and third and sort into like an art form. This one,
I like
50
that.
starts, 1 win, 13 seconds, 12 thirds. That certainly has a chance to grab a piece of the exotic wages in here for Jose Morelos, who's been riding great atop this 6-year-old daughter of Skip Shot. You don't see that stat very often. 13 seconds and 12 thirds.
She's only 0 for 7 on the all-weather, so she's got that going for her. But she runs every time, and she tries hard every time. And like he says, we've got exacta wagering here. She picks up checks.
Yeah, so I mean, besides that, but the Rainbow Six, I don't know if you had that horse on your ticket, but we'll see how it plays out. Or race number 5 this afternoon. This one is on the all-weather at about 5.5 furlongs. These are maiden special weight to 3-year-olds. And Brian, interesting to see how your ticket plays out.
Well, I singled Uptown Lights. We'll get to it in a second.
I thought that would be right.
Yeah, 2250. 4, what's the order in race 6? Yeah, 7. Julie Bird on top in a little bit of a spread. Another single with Diligent. That's my best bet of the day in race 7. And then a 3 by 5 late double. Number 6, Faithful Ruler on top of the 8th. And then a spread in the finale. Siango, we've got a replay of that one coming up as well. The finale, Ronnie, is a tough nut to crack, and I want coverage in there.
Yeah, so we'll see. The 2250 is certainly affordable if you want to add a ticket. What is it, double if you have one more horse that's somewhere along the line? So certainly very affordable. The single here, Uptown Lights, as we mentioned, first of all, I said at the top, it's maiden special weight 3-year-olds going on the Tapeta. Is returning from the layoff with Lasix added this afternoon after making that. Well, you got to replay. We might as well show it.
Yeah, let's just check it out because this is a cool replay, to show because Simplification is in this race, Ronnie, in his career debut. So here's Uptown Lights kind of out the back, not even in your picture yet. And don't forget, too, this was very, very early on in the Tapeta here at Gulfstream Park, and it was playing slower, and he's going to close through in slow splits here. Their Simplification is the 6, by the way. He's down inside. Nothing going on with him. He runs well, but obviously we know what he turned into. But here he comes inside with the Cheapswood colors on, and coming up inside, he's actually going to run second behind Gone Nuts, who's the 7. That's the winner, and he just kind of seems like he finds himself late, and he kind of figured out what his job is here, and he's really rolling late. Now, I will readily admit 2 things. You're going to take a very, very short price today, and also, I'm sure Todd Pletcher, the plan was not to run in October and then come back in April. That was certainly not the plan. Something in some way, shape, or form went amiss, but he's back today. He's got bullets in the holster at Palm Beach Downs. And at least in the afternoon, Ronnie, the runners we've seen have not been much.
And Pletcher, 24% with maidens making their second start. He's 22% with his Tapeta runners, and he really never ran on all-weather tracks around anywhere else except here in South Florida. So that's pretty much on the Tapeta surface in here. And I just thought for all the things that Brian mentioned, Junior Alvarado handling the return to action. Pair of next out winners, of course, one of those next out winners was Simplification in that race. The number 5 horse in here, Such Is Life, is the son of Lemon Drop Kid and a half-brother to this horse called Tony's Tappet. If you look at this horse, won 3 consecutive stakes, but this was in Canada, but it wasn't on all weather. It was at Century Mile. So I don't know what the class means, but the fact that Eddie Plesa Jr. Grabs this horse, gets Lasix, a slew of local workouts shown in preparation for this assignment. So if you look at this horse, I mean, the sire, as I mentioned, Tony's Tappet, run very well. Now, Century Mile is not a, top-tier track, but still, reason that Eddie got it, I had to use this horse somewhere on my ticket.
Well, I mean, I've got firsters and second and third, as you do too. We swapped them around a little bit. Eddie, another guy with just a prolific championship meet. 12%, solid enough with firsters. He obviously knows what to do with a good horse, and he can get him ready. I thought the fact that Jaramillo is here too, Ron, and he doesn't ride a lot for Eddie Plesa Jr., which was surprising to me. I just wonder if maybe Such As Life's got a little speed. We've got a speed rider engaged. And again, with the exception of Uptown Lights, this is a race for a first-time starter to me.
And one of those that you have in second,
Yeah.
Cody's Express is a half-brother to Grade 2 Stakes place. Stan the Man debuts for Jeremiah Engelhardt. Lasix, strong to Peter Ryder, as you mentioned all the time. Edwin Gonzalez handling the inside draw. That's a little bit of a concern for me, the inside post. But I think if Uptown Lights needs one after that long layoff, boy, does this get wide open.
And that's a great point. So twofold now. Check the tote board, not only on Uptown Lights, but you want to see Cody's Express. You want to see Such Is Life live and taking money, because that would be a good sign. And as you mentioned, Stan the Man was a really, really nice, hard-knocking sprinter up in New York.
Well, let's go to race number 6 this afternoon, and this one is a 6-furlong claimer for Phillies 3-year-olds or Phillies and Mares 4 and up, non-winners of 3 races in life, no scratches or jockey changes. And I want to hear about this number 7, Julie Bird, who I used a little further down on my ticket.
Well, I mean, Junior stuck around to ride after 2 straight, and I think there's going to be some speed in here. Now, question is, can you close on a sloppy and sealed main track? And again, you've got to see how it plays out throughout the course of the day. Several dirt races here. Take note of how the track is playing. If you're able to come from off the pace, Julie Bird, in theory, is going to get set up, because there's a lot of speed in this race, Ron.
Yeah, 1 for 1 on an off track.
1 for 1 on an off track.
I did go with the number 5, who you have in second on top, Shady Lee, who's turning back to 6 furlongs after surrendering that late lead when finishing second. It was against this caliber of competition, going 7/8 of a mile for Terry Pompey. You know, if you follow my analysis, I love the work that Terry does. You got Miguel Vasquez handling the turn back in distance.
Well, Shady Lee, I like, because Shady Lee scratched out as my long shot last week, and so I had to do a new long shot and paid $56. So I'm a fan of Shady Lee.
That's the way to handicap.
But I will say this: the cutback works for Shady Lee, who I've got in second, and Shady Lee is the speed of the speed. The question is, does anybody go with her? Can anybody go with her? If they don't, you might not see her again.
Well, traditionally, over the years, and I know stock you put into this is that when it's an off track and it's sealed, speed has always been good here at Gulfstream Park.
Absolutely. So again, just check how it's unfolding today. But for sure, and again, we're cutting back from 7 and 8 furlongs to 6 today. That's got to help Shady Lee.
The number 4, Snacks, that goes to the Victor Barboza Jr. Bond after the claim, steps up, dueled for the lead, dueled early in that race, actually. Drew clear late to defeat those non-winners of 2 lifetime claimers, going 6.5 furlongs. The Bond, let me show you the stat. First after the claim, sprints claiming on the dirt right here over the past 5 years, 25 for 58, 43%, 83% in the money. 241 is the return of investment. That's a pretty good stat.
Is that any good? Wow, that's huge. For a barn that, you know, Victor had quietly picking his spots, had a very, very good championship meet, and now I think he's really, really poised to do some good things at the Royal Palm meet. We've got to improve off Rohan Crichton. Easier said than done. Another horse with speed in this race.
You know, I had some interest in the number 1 just because of the connections. Queen Domina's turning back, pressed the pace, finished third behind Shady Lee, going 7 last time out for Rohan Crichton. MF Gonzalez will be in the saddle. So maybe you're right. There is that somewhat, every time I mention a horse that has some speed involved, so maybe it does set up for a horse like Julie Bird.
Yeah, I mean, I need a little bit of a meltdown. I need a hot and contested pace. If that's not the case, then it's not going to happen. Queen Domina, if you're a fan, you're going to get a square price. I don't really know where the last race came from, but it's rare you get Rohan at a price. You're definitely going to get it with Queen Domina.
Let's go to race number 7 this afternoon, about a mile in the 16th on the Peter claim is 4 and up, 10,000 down to 8,000. Had a scratch of the number 5 horse in here quick enough, and this was your single in, I believe, in your late pick 5, Diligent.
Yeah, and my best bet of the day. I mean, it's all right there in front of you. Gilberto Zerpa, and we'll show a trainer stack coming up. Claim this one for 20. And look at the spots he ran this horse in the 16 handicap and a 20 starter. I mean, Yamato and these horses that were in those races would just be way huge, heavy favorites. The drop-in class were well drawn. Junior is here. We're tactical. It's just all adds up to Diligent, albeit at a short number, to me, laying over this field.
Yeah, and here's that stat on Gilberto Zerpa, 50% drop in claiming price. He's 19 for 55, 35%, 53% in the money. 167 is the return of investment. And I agree wholeheartedly that this is the one to beat in this spot.
Yeah, without a doubt. And there's speed in here that he can sit just off of. And if he reproduces any of his last, well, basically several races, he's going to win.
Well, a couple of horses that are going to fight each other again is the 3 Farley and the 2 Benefactor. Farley stretching out slightly after dueling throughout. Got caught at the wire, beaten the neck by Benefactor, going the mile 70 yards. Gary Jackson trains the latter. I just thought these two were, good for minor awards behind Diligent.
Yeah, the question is how heavy and hot do they go early? Because if they're able to settle a little bit on the lead, they could stick around for a while. I just kind of, you see the last race, they ding-donged it out. And I don't think that's going to work with Diligent. And that's kind of why I went Ambassador Jim. I went on Tread in second and third because they maybe can pick up the pieces of what could be a pace battle in here between Benefactor and Farley.
Yeah, you would think that Ambassador Jim would come from off the pace this afternoon. But once again, we'll see how both surfaces play this afternoon. Race number 8 is about 5 furlongs on the Tapeta. It's a starter optional claimer. 4 3-year-olds started for $35 or less, so the optional tag of $35,000. Scratch the 3 in here, Living Water. One of the horses had in third on this, so it didn't change my top pick in here. I'll start it off with the number 4 Insociable, who's dropping to the 35 level after returning from the layoff to finish a set the pace second against those 50 starter optional claimers, going 5.5 furlongs on the all-weather Tapeta surface for Safi. And here you go with Junior Alvarado handling that mini turn back to 5 furlongs.
Yeah, and that's I think that's probably this horse has speed, seems to be on the improve. It's Safi, it's Junior, a little bit of a drop in class as well, and the speed to be involved throughout, because we've talked about this quite a bit. When on the 5 furlong races on the Tapeta, it's tough to drop out the back and win. You better have at the very least, some tactical speed, because we've seen horses blitz early and not come back to the field.
You got the number 6 Faithful Ruler, one from Brendan Walsh on top of your ticket, Edwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, Brendan's been on fire. I mean, at all points down here, a couple stakes wins on Curlin, Florida Derby Day. And here's Faithful Ruler with Edwin drawn outside the speed, but enough in his corner to keep him in his sights early and maybe kick off the far turn.
And then you got the number 9 horse in second, Lucego from Terry Pompey with the Paco Lopez in the saddle.
Luca Go's been pretty good here at the championship meet. 3 for 4.
Go.
Luca Go. I always get it wrong, too.
Luca Go.
Yeah, Luca Go. And he's been pretty good at the championship meet. Yes, he didn't fire last time, but that was against better. 3 for 4 on the Tapeta, and a horse that, I don't know if he can win. Paco will probably put a little more speed in him, and I don't think that's a bad thing because he's been dropping out a little bit. Now against tougher, he probably wants to be closer early on.
Solid morning line of 8-1 on that horse. What about the number 7 horse in here, and that's Pure Spite, who goes to the Bobby Hess Jr. barn after the claim. Finished a close-up third against 35 claimers. That was going 5 on the Tapeta. Blinkers off today for the new connections.
Yeah, and you can see it in the past performances. Pure Spite's been really, really keyed up in his last 2 starts. Last time with the hood on, it comes off today. And I would assume Bobby's just trying to get him to settle a little bit early on because he's kind of been losing his races early and it's costing him late. So if he settles a little better today and stays close but not on the pace, Bobby's solid 15%. He knows what he's doing off the claim.
Race 9 this afternoon. It's going to be 5.5 furlongs right now on a sealed sloppy track. You never know in Florida by this time in the afternoon. It could be fast, if the sun comes out. Maiden claimers, 3-year-old, $16,000. I mentioned my long shot in here, Cajun Bio, and the reasons before we show you that replay of the number 4 horse in here that day, Tiago. This one, Cajun Bio, is the son of Cajun Breeze, and that's what I like. They drop it to the 16 level, getting Lasix. Had some early trouble prior to coming up empty in his state-bred special weight debut last September. But Mike Yates, pretty sharp with maidens making their second start, 26%. And he has the colt working consistently for the return. Looking for that price, and that's why I went here.
And he also puts Angel Arroyo on, who we've talked about quite a bit, has been very engaged early in his races, and I think he's done a good job reading the racing form and seeing if the lead is there for the taking and acting accordingly. We get Lasix. This horse scares me because I do think this horse is going to show a lot more speed. You mentioned the maiden special weight drop, the job Mike does with the Cajun Breezes, and that 26% is a huge, huge stat. Several works here for the off the break.
And you went to the outside horse, and I believe we have a video from this one from Fausto Gutierrez.
Let's take a look at it. Not a lot going on here, but the winners here, the order's 2-1-5-4. So everybody's up there in front.
Right.
Nobody's making any ground, and here's Siango dead last, trying to get his way through traffic. You know, he puts an okay late run on. He's well beaten for a quarter. Now he drops for 16. If nothing else, the flow of this race is going to be a lot better for him because there's going to be some speed early. They're going to be going at it. Several of them want a motor early. Maybe he gets a better flow. How the track suits him remains to be seen. But Fausto Gutierrez had a quietly nice championship meet. It was cool to see him bring back the champion, Latruska. I'm wondering if Siango just maybe wakes up a little bit here, Ron.
There's a half to Latruska on the card today somewhere earlier on. We'll point that out when we come back a little later on. So he's got a lot of horses. That's one of my favorite race mares ever. So in addition, I also used the number 2 in here, King D, who's we're not together at all unless I like that. This one dropping to the 16 level, turning back to 5.5 furlongs after showing speed and retreating. Once again, against state-bred maiden special weight runners going 7 and 6 furlongs respectively for Rohan Crichton. Emmett Gonzalez handling the class relief.
Crichton on the drop, and as Ronnie said, well, if you need to get out today, what better of a race to try to do it? Because we are nowheresville when you look at our numbers together.
What about the 6 Awkward Pause?
Yeah, I mean, lightly raced, Eddie Police. I did wake up on the Tapeta a little bit last time. The debut wasn't much on the dirt. The drop here's got to play a little bit. And, hey, junior rides.
Yeah, junior rides, so you got to look at that. So that is how we see this 9-race card. Pick 5 pool is starting to build, but we're not done yet. We got a really nice lightning round to get to, so let's get right to it, Brian.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pick 5. Well, here's a Stronach 5. This is going to be the last one, at least for a little bit. 12% takeout, $1 minimum. Overlay City for the last time, as our buddy Pete Aiello likes to say. There you see we kick it off at 4:40 in the PM up in Maryland, and then we've got one here in race 8.
And it's mandatory pay.
Thank you.
That
Good call.
mandatory pay. That is the key for this thing. It's, as they say, everything's got to go. So if it's one of those bomber days and you have 4 to 5, you can get paid in there. It's not where you need the 5 out of 5. So that's a pretty good day to play it. That's for sure. And that'll be a little later on this afternoon.
Tomorrow at Keeneland in the Grade 1, Jenny Wiley, Regal Glory, who was absolutely awesome isn't even the right word to describe how good she was in the inaugural Pegasus Filly and Mare, the World Cup Turf. Here she is absolutely blowing the doors off this field, coming from last after a bad break in traffic and all that. She's not even going to be favored at Keeneland. So good for Chad Brown and Peter Brandt. So that's tomorrow in the Grade 1, Jenny Wiley.
Yeah, just under that ride to the wire, no whips, no nothing. It was very good performance in there. You know what? First bet, we want you to bet everything tomorrow.
Just fire.
Just fire. So you know what we'll do? We'll give you free PPs.
Yeah, we've got 11 here. Santa Anita's got a big card at, xbtv.com to check that out on another great Powerhouse Saturday here.
Yeah, that's a great thing, great offer that they have, and just jump on board, and sign up, and you can get those free frees. They're available, of course, for Santa Anita, who will be running with us both on Saturday and on Easter Sunday. What else we got?
Well, I think we both missed this one. I know certainly I did. And we talked about Safi, not necessarily a first-out guy, but I guess when you have a half-sister to Rombauer, the Preakness winner, you're allowed to think she can run a little bit. And Republique, I don't think a lot of people maybe thought she could run a little bit because she's 8-1 with that pedigree. But here she is running down Sadie Bear, who I know we both liked and who was a pretty nice filly in her own right, and winning pretty easily, too.
Yeah, I think I might have had this one third or fourth on the ticket, but only because of the connections.
Right.
Not that I knew that this horse was going to win, but nice performance. So that's how we see the Friday action. Once again, if you're just joining us, starting the day with a sealed sloppy track. We are off the turf, but we only had one turf race, and we were not killed by scratches, which is always fantastic with this new all-weather surface. So time to turn it over to Pete Aiello.
Let's get it done. Best of luck, and happy to have you aboard today.
The Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is really the vehicle for the transition for our racehorses coming off the track into a second career and safe environment for these horses when they're done racing. I've been passionate about racehorses my whole life, animals in general, and without the TAA to provide that oversight, there would be a big void in terms of making sure that we have this ongoing safe environment for our off-the-track racehorses. I'm excited about the undertaking and excited about working with our board and our team at the TAA to continue the wonderful progress that has been made. So I'm very excited about what the future holds.